or during the scoring on his own. It was another victory that had Harden's fingerprints all over it. There are your final stats. Nets shooting at a terrific 57% clip from the field. They took 45 three-point attempts, made 19. Rebounding edge, massive edge in points in the paint, 70-38. And again, tied for most points in a regulation game in team history. Let's get the post-game reaction now from Coach Steve Nash.
Hey, Steve, I got two for you. Most points scored in regulation in franchise history. Just what was working so well with the offense tonight? And then it seemed like Landry was due for a game like that. Just what did you see out of him as well?
Yeah, I mean, Landry was great. Got his shot going, but his defense was excellent. You know, he had a really good all-around game. Shots fell for us, but we also didn't turn the ball over. Too bad, and created a lot of good opportunities. It's a young team, development team that's come off a West Coast road trip, and I think we caught them tonight. But the guys did their job, played well, and kept separation.
Tom Dowd, BrooklynNets.com.
Steve, obviously, James again with his third triple-double is in net. Him and Kyrie had, 25 each. How do you feel about them just kind of, splitting the workload without Kevin out there and kind of taking the lead for your scoring?
Yeah, they were both incredible. James manages the game so well, spreads the floor, scores, assists, rebounds, gets his hands on balls defensively, and Kyrie was just, incredible shot making. I mean, he's able to make some, amazing plays with the basketball, and such a threat out there. It's so difficult for defenses to contain.
Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Coach, what did you just think about, Landry, Tim, Joe, when you've got guys that are hitting their shots, just what does that do for the offense and what does that do for the team, especially for guys that haven't been able to knock down shots in recent games?
Well, it was great. I was happy for Landry. Obviously, he's a very good shooter. He hasn't had a good start to the season shooting the ball, but he's done his job whenever we've played him. He's been good defensively and taking shots, and just haven't had him go in yet. So tonight he got a little rhythm going, which is great to see. TLC as well, and has done a great job defensively for us. You go down the line, everyone had contributions tonight, but when those guys make threes, it opens up the middle for James and Kai and Kevin, and they make you pay if you collapse. So I think it makes us a very deadly team offensively when guys are making threes.
Tom Dowd, BrooklynNets.com.
Hey, Steve, just, looking at the starting lineup you went without Kevin, obviously I guess there's a choice between Bruce and Jeff to kind of fill that spot. How do you decide which one to go with? And was it predicated on what the starting lineup would look like or the second unit would look like?
Both. I think putting Bruce out there to start the game allows him to guard Shea, which is someone we need to try to contain. Jeff, not starting, I think allows us to have him on the second unit as a veteran presence with experience to help the second unit. It also allows us to try to limit his minutes a little bit. We've played him a lot this year. He's so versatile and so important to us that, if he starts tonight, he's probably playing 35 minutes, but if he comes off the bench, we were able to limit him at least a little bit. So, I think it worked well all the way around tonight, but, who knows what the future holds.
Michael Grady, Yes Network.
Hey, Coach, packaging this one with the last one against Atlanta. When you reflect back on the last game with Atlanta and then the last game with the Thunder, how different are you than the team that in the last two meetings between these teams?
Yeah, we're getting there. We are different in personnel, clearly, but I think we're slowly inching forward at both ends of the floor. We at least. We struggle defensively at times, but we're getting more, I think, solid with our game plan defensively, which is important. Offensively, you're starting to see a little bit more flow. You're seeing James is able to manage a game like that and manipulate the defense. So he brings something different to the table. In the first two times we played those teams, that's incredibly important and valuable for us as well.
What are some other ways you've seen the comfortability since James has joined the group, continue to develop in a positive direction? Obviously, the win streak speaks for itself, but what ways are you seeing, guys are getting more comfortable out there?
Yeah, there's a familiarity growing at both ends of the floor. We got a long ways to go defensively. It's not our forte or strong suit, but we got to be clean with our game plan and make sure that we're talking and anticipating actions. So I think that's improving. And offensively, I think guys are starting to get a feel and a rhythm for one another, how each other likes to play, where they like the ball, how they like to move, cut, and play off each other. So, James is a master at leading that and manipulating the floor. And obviously with Kai and Kevin's scoring ability, it's, very potent at that end of the floor. So we got to continue to refine offensively to find that connectivity, and then defensively the same thing. If we can just get sharper and cleaner with all of our reads, talking and executing at that end, we can be solid down there.
Last question will go to Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
Hey, Steve. This is a two-parter. You mentioned being more solid with the defensive game plan. I'm curious, are you changing how you're asking them to play defensively? Like maybe say, hey, listen, this didn't work. I'm going to try this. Or are they just simply understanding better what you guys are demanding of them? And then the second question is, Kyrie played a little bit. It seemed like Harden had been playing a little more with the second unit. And today it seemed like Kyrie was playing a little bit more with the second unit. What was it that went into that? Was it just the way they worked with those guys, or was it a game matchup?
I'd have to look. I felt like James started both the second and fourth quarters. But maybe Kai was out there in the second unit. I guess the end of the first and third quarter, Kai played the whole quarter, so he would have been out there with the second unit, I guess, for a brief stint. But that it wasn't so much by design. It was just with Kevin out of the game. We left Kai in for the entire first and third quarter. James still kind of runs that second unit at the start of the second and fourth. Defensively, we're mixing in a few things, but really we're just trying to refine what we were previously doing. So it's not a whole lot of change, but we will look to mix in. We blitzed a little bit tonight. We denied a little bit tonight. We even ran a possession of zone, but we got a ways to go as far as building our toolbox, but also refining what our basics and foundations are.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Let's take another break on the postgame show. When we come back, we'll talk more about how the Nets just piled up points in Oklahoma City. Again, 9 players in double figures. Thoughts from Ian and Sarah coming up. 7 points, tying a regular season regulation scoring record, 147. That was set several years back. Kevin Durant, of course, did not play. Brooklyn snapping a 5-game losing streak against the Thunder, and they win their 4th straight. For James Harden, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, his 3rd triple-double since joining the Nets. Meantime, we showed you the big impact Joe Harris had as well. Moments ago, he talked to Michael Grady.
All right, Joe, first off, just want to get your reaction. 147 points tonight, matching a franchise record without Kevin Durant. Just want your reaction to those numbers.
I think a lot of guys has got it going tonight. Obviously, we had Kevin, it could have been a little bit more. But, I think guys just got it rolling early. We're getting a lot of room and rhythm looks. The ball was moving. And then we were getting stops, too. So we would get stops. We were able to get out in transition and get some easy buckets that way, too.
After the last game with the Thunder, Coach Steve Nash said he didn't see the competitive spirit in the second half. How much was that a point of emphasis headed into this game?
It was a huge point of emphasis. I mean, they came into our building and really, smacked us around. So, it's one of those things where, you can't take anybody lightly in this league. Everybody's got capable guys at any point in the night. I mean, even tonight, Maladon comes out, hits 7 threes against us. You just never know who it's going to be. So you can't take anybody lightly. You got to come out, assert yourself early. And I thought we did a good job of that, or a better job at least than we did last time.
Joe, Nets fans ride with. They were disappointed to see that 3-point streak end in the last game. New streak going tonight. He knocked down 5 threes, 51 for the month. That's one shy of the franchise record for most three-pointers made in a month. But I want to ask you about ball movement and just how big that is. 33 assists tonight. How does that help in setting everybody up for quality looks?
Just in itself, the fact that we had 33 assists, that just shows that the ball is moving. Guys are, giving up good ones for great ones. Drawing defenders, making the extra pass. That's how we got to play.
All right, enjoy the win. Thanks so much for your time, Joe.
Appreciate it, Grady.
Well, take a look at Joe Harris on the night. 20 points on 7 of 13 shooting. He hit 5 threes, 5 or more three-point games in 5 games. He's done it 2 times in the last 4. And this season, 20 or more points in 5 games. And the Nets unbeaten when he does that. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, a lot more ground to cover. Steve Nash will talk about the Nets' 147-125 win.